Hi, welcome to the Renden. I'm Ren, and if you're seeing this, I have successfully sorted these bookshelves. So as you may know, we moved house last year, and while some of my books were unearthed pretty quickly, including a lot of the ones over here that I used for my dissertation, at least half, I actually don't know how many, are still in boxes. But now, I'm in a position to change that. So in terms of space for books, we don't have a huge amount to play with. Originally, the plan was going to be these top three and then these three here would all be books, but these shelves don't really go anywhere else, so it's not going to work out quite how I planned. I have done some rejigging, as you can see, to get some book space on that shelf, but it's not going to be a lot. So we may need to think about spreading the books out. One idea I had was this section down here is the craft section, and I could put like the embroidery books with the embroidery and the crochet books with the crochet. But honestly, as sections, they're not huge volumes of books. Now, I can fit some stuff on the shelf that you can't see, the secret shelf. It's not going to be a lot, but I could do things like nature guides could go there as quite a nice reference section that makes sense to be over there rather than to be over here on the main shelves. My concern is that these are already quite full. This shelf is already triple layered, if you count the Narnia books. So there's another row of books behind that. So we really don't have a huge amount of space to play with. There is a chance that I'm going to have to do a small amount of culling to just fit everything on, but I hate getting rid of books just because they don't fit on the shelf. So I'm going to try and avoid that if I can. I am really nervous about not having enough space. So I think I just have to start before I psych myself out about the whole thing. So step one is going to be empty these shelves of all the books already. I'm going to use the desk and the drawers and the chair and probably every other flat surface I can find to make category piles. A lot of this is, the only fiction that's in here is my dissertation fiction, because the like house fiction is upstairs. So a lot of it is going to be non-fiction categories. But yeah, I think I'm just going to have to make a start. Otherwise, I'm going to freak myself out about it. So let's go. What do we think of this wallpaper, by the way? I'm preparing for the Arthur Ransom section to be quite significant. This is just a section that's going to be academic, which I appreciate is more broad than I would like, but I'll sort that in micro when I'm doing it on the shelf. I think maybe stupid huge books should just be its own section, because otherwise it's going to be annoying. This isn't mine. So this is fiction. This is metatextual. Is poetry fiction? Discuss. Hey. I might move academic, actually. I'm worried it's going to be too heavy for the table. Big old dense books full of stuff. That's not really a book. It's a box. I need to think of something to put in it. I think that might be the least annoying place for the chair. Games. It's toasty work. It's still somehow too much Arthur Ransom. Good news from the heights of the top left shelf. I thought it was double stacked and it was only single stacked. Right, that's everything. Have you been at an angle the whole time? I'm so sorry. Was possibly only very slight. That's all the books from the shelf. Some of these sections are bigger than I anticipated. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and sort through the books in the other room and bring in the ones that are mine and add them to these piles. I'm going to put fiction on the floor. I'm scared of it. Come with me. I think Arthur Ransom fiction can go there too. Anyway, I'm gonna go find some more books. See in a minute. Ah, chair. Where can you go that's not annoying? I'm kind of blending like faith and mysticism and philosophy over here, which I recognise as... I'm not happy about it. I'm running out of table, so it is what it is. What category is that? Oh, I've hit nature and nature writing. I'm going to put folklore and nature in the same pile because this book is folklore of nature. So there'll be some degree of overlap there. We decided poetry was fiction. Kept more Bibles than I thought I did. I'm going to need this pile to be 2 piles in a minute, but I don't really have room for that. Poetry is fiction. Words and words and words. Where's my tea? Ooh. There we go. Still just about warm, so that didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I've left a bit of a mess in the other room, which I'm going to have to go and tidy up before I deal with this. It's simultaneously better and worse than I thought. There weren't as many boxes as I thought, or what was in them wasn't as much mine as I thought, so that's nice. I did find half a box of yarn and string, which is annoying because I tidied my yarn and string yesterday, so that's going to have to be rethought. But fortunately, I didn't pack that shelf particularly sort of densely, so I'm hoping that there's enough wiggle room in there to make that work. Now, I say it's not as bad as I thought, but there's 3 piles of fiction down here and 2 piles of academic stuff behind me. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and tidy the mess I left in the other room, and by then I will have had time to think about the sections of this and how I want it to work. I think I'm still right that academics should go behind other things. Not really sure what to do about the fiction. I might have to clear a shelf on here to make that work. It's nice to have books again though, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna go tidy up after myself. Okay, I'm back. Feeling a little bit sleepy, but I can't stop now. I think what I need to address first is the academic stuff and the Arthur Ransom stuff, because collectively that's probably half the books. Just looking at, I'm ignoring the fact that fiction is down here. We'll deal with that. Fiction in an ideal world would be browsable because I'm not necessarily going to go, I remember this book and I know why I want it. So ideally that will be on the front of the shelves, which is partly why I'm leaving it till last, and also partly because it's a huge category and I'm scared. But I'm going to separate out the Arthur Ransom from it. And then, yeah, the Arthur Ransom, the scouting books, and all the academic stuff is going to go... You should see the shelves, really, shouldn't you? There you go. You're on the books now. I'm going to stay down here so that you guys can see a bit more of what I'm talking about. So, plan is, all the Arthur Ransom, all the scouting, all the academic is going to be in the back, because if I'm right that it's about half the books, or something approaching that, that should work. These shelves up here are quite short. So some of this will be book size dependent, but broadly I'm going to start in this corner, move that box, work along, and then start down here. I want it to be weighted that way because this is the less accessible side, so it's because it's behind the chair. So if I do need to have more than the back layer be this section, it's at least in the kind of most inaccessible corner, so that my ready reference books are all on this side, which is much easier to get to. I'm broadly speaking going to work from more academic to least academic. The categories are made up, but they make sense to me, and it's my bookshelf, so that's all that really matters. So I'm going to do academic first because it's closest to the bookshelf and the sizes are going to be more hinky, and then we'll move to scouting and Arthur Ransom. Yes. Do I want to subdivide the academic stuff? Yeah, kinda. All right. Okay, so we're starting with general introductions to literature. See what I mean about inaccessible? And then this is people talking about specific types of literature. You think that might fit? Hey. And then we've got particular literary theories, part 2. This is people talking about particular kinds of readers and children. Children in general, not that children are readers. that leads us to psychology, and then scouting history, because then that will lead me quite nicely onto the scouting books. Okay, that's all the academic, apart from scouting. I thought that was going to be a lot worse. Right, the scouting books are going to go broadly chronologically. Broadly because I'm going to have to split them up, but an attempt will be made. I should explain the scouting thing, by the way. I, for my master's dissertation, compared the development of the scouting movement to Arthur Ransom's Swallows and Amazon series, so that's why I've got so much on those two things, because that just happened. So next, we're going to do Arthur Ransom, except that for the Arthur Ransom tools, rather than come over here already, I'm going to stay in that shelf, I think. There's only one Arthur Ransom book up there. I'm going to move it to down there with those and do Arthur Ransom fiction across the front of here. That's looking quite nice, isn't it? They're not the most inspiring spines by themselves, but put together all like that. It's quite nice. This is cool, actually. This is from the summer that the National Trust did a lot about the fact that gay people lived in posh houses too, and then everyone got really mad at them and they stopped doing it. But I will keep this forever as a reminder that it happened. Maybe metatextual should go and then history, actually, because then it's like books, history, books, history. No, I'm gonna do history then metatextual, actually. I'm gonna put the additional Arthur Ransom editions behind there and it be a like old books thing, because that'll keep it safe from sunshine and stuff as well. Jolkin, Rolkin, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Terry Pratchett. And do you think words? Let's do words and then go through kind of faith and belief and then aim for people saying stuff about stuff. And all of that is going to go in here. Yeah, right. Turns out I've still got 3.5 Bibles. It's not bad for someone with religious trauma. This should be down here. Not that there's room, I'll solve that later. I'm going to do people talking about stuff alphabetically by surname. This stuff like Rutger Bregman's Humankind, Greta Thunberg, but also like Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks. Just kind of people musing on topics, and the thing that's interesting is the person that they are, if that makes sense. T-B-W. Bregman again. Ursula K. Le Guin, my beloved. Bronte. I'm going to put it under B, even though it's by Elizabeth Gaskell, because I will look for it under Bronte. Alright, and then broadly, like so. They're taller than I thought, those top shelves. Not as tall as Ursula Le Guin. So I feel like people talking about stuff segues quite nicely into the sort of self-help section, which is quite small, because I need help. It's time for nature now. Broadly, it would be cool if it went in that top shelf as much as possible. However, the tripod is standing on that pile, so the angle's going to change a little bit. Alright, so I have separated out the nature guides on the basis that they're probably going on that shelf. Quite a lot of these are chunky, so I might actually keep the big ones on this side with the guides. Hang on though, we've started with almanacs, which I don't necessarily stand by. Let's start with nature writing, and I'm using it in the broader sense. Some of this is sort of ecology and philosophy, but it's about the vibes, isn't it? Alright, and then we got sort of D&D stuff, which I would quite like to go on the D&D shelf. But there's no room! I'm just going to pop them down there temporarily because I need to sort out the D&D shelves. And I don't want to, because I can't work out what the right solution is, but where they are right now is not making me happy. Okay, and then we're down to, we've got my lovely little sort of Wordsworth reference books. I'm obsessed with these. I pick up a new one every time I see one. And then craft, and then fiction. I've never really organised books by size before, and I probably never will again, but for this particular shelf, because it's part of a shelf, and it's such a small selection, it makes sense there. Quite like that. I think that's quite cute. The books I've got here on the table, I want to go on that shelf. So I'm going to check that that works before I fill every remaining space with fiction. I will say it's going to be closer than I thought. I genuinely can't tell right now whether this will work. I mean, that should be a big enough space. Half the fiction went in the ransom, so let's find out. Oh wait, I gotta alphabetize it first. I'm gonna do that on the floor. The books are already down there. Okay, fiction. We're nearly done. Everything actually kind of fits. There's room in here. I could go get some more. Wait, there's fiction down here I think is cool. PQRS. Okay, there's no longer room, but it fits, which is more than I thought it was going to do. Broadly, I'm quite happy with that. I'm also tired. I might play around with ornaments to sort of have some placed nicely among the books. But broadly, they fit and I can see everything that I wanted to see. And I want to buy some lights for across the top still. So if they appear in a video, you'll know that I was successful. Anyway, I hope that was fun. I am genuinely really pleased with it. I'm just also shattered. Like, as a background, it is still kind of just stuff, but when I look at it, I might, over the top of me talking here, add some pictures of the shelves close up, because up close, several of them look particularly nice. You just can't really tell because of, you know, light, and there's a lot going on back there, and it's just me in the front here. But I think I am really happy with the way that it looks and the way that it should hopefully function as a kind of referenceable shelf. The vast majority of fiction that we have is upstairs, so this is kind of just like some of my faves. So yeah, that section might change as we sort out the fiction upstairs, because it doesn't quite fit on the bookshelf, but I know that there is some space behind that line to put more books in. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I'm gonna go and boil the kettle. Take care, and I will see you on the next project.